This creator gained over 1 million followers in less than 2 months on TikTok. Becca Bloom had no other social media following when she started her TikTok account just a couple of months before I'm recording this video. However, in that short span, she has gained over 1 million followers and is currently, at the time that I'm recording this, gaining 100,000 followers every day. So let's talk about how she's doing it and how you can do the same thing, because I want everyone to have a bunch of followers and make a ton of money. So let's check her out and let's figure out exactly how she's doing, what she's doing, and how you can do the same thing. Just for reference, I'm Kate and I have helped thousands of people make a full-time living from social media. So let's check out Becca's profile and see exactly what she's doing right. So at the time I'm recording this, Becca has 1.5 million followers. I'm sure by the time you're watching this, she'll have even more. Trust me, this lady is a freaking social media genius, or she's paying a social media genius to be on her team. Nobody, and I mean nobody, gets this kind of following without having shit figured out, okay? So let's check her out.
Our wedding invitations just arrived. We designed every part of our invitations with our designer. It comes in this soft cream velvety box, and when we open it, you can see a hand-drawn gold foil illustration of our wedding venue, Villa Balbiano. Here is the RSVP and invitation card, and if we lift the tassel, it is our engagement photo shoot in Provence. So I think I told some of y'all already, but my mom actually orchestrated that photo shoot when she felt major FOMO for missing the actual proposal. So she basically wanted to recreate the proposal in Provence. Our wedding invitations just arrived.
Okay, so the first thing that I'm noticing in this video is that she has a visual hook, something to catch your attention. She taps on her box that has her wedding invitations in it, and then she says what's going on. She says she's unboxing her wedding invitations. She also has a very clean but very elegant background. You don't have to have, you know, $1 million house to have a nice clean background that looks good. You just have to have a clear background that's like very easy to make look nice. So I have like plain white walls. I have my little light. I have my designer stuff. I have my vision board. And I have my very big, comfy, TikTok famous chair that is like absolutely massive. I'm not a small lady, and this chair I can like take a nap in. I have this whole aesthetic going on, right? So having a nice, clean aesthetic that people feel good seeing is very helpful. And in this video, her background is literally like a window with an ocean view. That's very high class, very luxury, very luxe. And I also want to talk a little bit about the concept of universal fantasy. This is something that I discovered in fiction when I was like mainly focusing on author stuff. Theodora Taylor came up with this concept of universal fantasy, where these are the things we strive for. These are the things that we wish would happen. So we kind of wish that we could be sitting in this mansion with an ocean view and unboxing our luxe wedding invitations. So she really falls into that universal fantasy archetype, and that's not just a TikTok strategy, that is a marketing strategy in itself. I'm telling you, this lady is fantastic at marketing.
With our designer, it comes in this soft cream velvety box.
She's also going really into like the aesthetic and feeling things and doing like kind of an ASMR type vibe, but she's not being annoying about it. She's not getting you really close to the thing. She's not tapping it and making a lot of sound. She's just making it so you can hear the sounds and almost feel the luxury in the things that she is doing.
When we open it, you can see a hand-drawn gold foil illustration of our wedding venue, Villa Balbiano. Here is the RSVP and invitation card, and if we...
She's also using a very friendly but casual voice. She's not too upbeat that it feels forced like I'm doing basically for this video, but she doesn't have like a very haughty tone to her. She's not like, oh yes, this is what I do and what I spend. She's just showing you her life, right? She's being very casual and going into like that ASMR without being too heavy about it. And that's some really skilled sound mixing, if not at the very least, some very skilled recording.
The tassel, it is our engagement photo shoot in Provence. So I think I told some of y'all already, but my mom actually orchestrated that photo shoot when she felt major FOMO for missing the actual...
She also cuts to her face when she's like trying to talk directly to you and tell a story about her life, because she's showing you the thing. She's like, this is from my photo shoot in Provence for my engagement photo shoot, and then she like pulls you up close, she pulls you in to tell you. So my mom was missing out and she paid for us to have this photo shoot in Province because she wanted us to like have this photo shoot and she wanted to be there for some of it. And she's like being very personable. She's going face to face with you.
Proposal. So she basically wanted to recreate the proposal in Provence.
Sorry. And again, like when you look at her background, like this is not a normal person background, right? This is a very, very, very bougie background. And she's very clearly wearing like designer clothes. She has her Van Cleef necklace. She has her diamond ring that is the size of Rhode Island, okay? She's very clearly got like this rich person aesthetic without being overly pushy about it.
Not Chanel haul, but technically every.
So on her next video, it's a free luxury haul. So these are like free luxury items that she's received.
Having an ring was free. I said yesterday that I had accumulated a ton of free credit at Neiman that needed to be spent by the end of this month. I got 3 Chanel jackets. The first one is this white cardigan.
So this video, she does what I love to do, which is talking immediately. She doesn't like immediately have a visual hook going, but she is very clearly, once again, like in this very fancy space, but I think that's just like how she lives naturally, and part of this is people love seeing how she lives naturally.
Having an Oura ring is really humbling because what do you mean?
This video actually does have a visual hook, and that is the fact that she's walking while carrying a drink, so it looks like she just decided to start recording on her way to where she's going from her kitchen, and that brings a lot of relatability, but it also makes us feel like pulled into her life, like she's pulling us in and we are in her space and like we're being her bestie. So that's a really amazing visual hook that she's using. That is also a really great way to make people feel included, and so that most people who watch her content don't feel like she's being like distant, like she's just kind of, you know, she's there, but she's kind of just letting you view. It feels like she's bringing us into her content by doing these kinds of visual hooks.
45 minutes away from reaching my daily activity goals. I just got off an hour-and-a-half long session on the treadmill. Having an Oura ring is really...
She's also being very relatable in this video because, you know, we've all had that annoying thing where our phone will be like, oh, you should get up and go for a walk after you just like jogged up 3 flights of stairs or something, right? So this is like something relatable that makes us see, oh, this rich person is just like us. How wonderful.
Hello, David and I are headed off to the country club for some dinner. I'm gonna do a quick...
Now, her background in a lot of her visuals is a visual hook in itself, and her clothes are a visual hook in themselves, but also the movement that she does where she's like, hello, we are going to this place to do this thing. That is all a visual hook, and it is a strategy. It's not just someone casually making content. It is a content creation strategy. So keep an eye out for that when you're looking at people who have all of these followers, and not just because they're rich, but because they're making good content.
The evening before we head out, dresses from the Zimmermann spring collection. Come shopping with me. Dior invited us to a private shopping.
Now, this next one, it's about her private shopping experience at Dior, which is like very uppity and unattainable feeling, right? But once again, she's bringing us into it, and she shows her face immediately because she is now very famous on TikTok in this like luxury space. She has millions of followers over the course of just a couple of months, and so she shows her face as she's walking towards this. But despite the fact that she's like casually walking towards this appointment, she has on a fur coat. Like that is a very bougie thing to do. And it's another type of visual hook, and the fact that she is walking and recording like this, it's a very relatable way to film content, which hooks us because we can relate to it on some level. If you want to learn how to make TikTok content that helps you go viral, make sure to check out the Real Advantage linked below. It goes over my strategy and how I've helped thousands of people go full-time because of their social media and make a full-time living from their social media profiles without having to work super hard and like sit and record content all day every day, or even without having to use your face for content.
I started off in the main room looking for some work clothes and sweaters, but got completely distracted by this wall of bags. A lot of them were beautiful, but they were pretty similar to the ones that I already had in my...
Again, the way that she talks is fantastic for social media because she has a very like calm and friendly tone, and it makes her seem a lot more humble and a lot more relatable and a lot friendlier and easy to approach than if she were using a very matter-of-fact tone and if she were talking about the amount of money that she's spending. But the way that she's recording is the same way that lifestyle vloggers vlog like a trip to Target, right? So the way that she's recording is a way that's relatable, even if the stuff she's buying is not relatable to most people.
Before being taken to the private room where they displayed all of the exotic bags as well as the haute couture items, we browsed through some of the Dior high jewelry collection. I fell in love with the...
She's also doing a lot of zooming in on things, and like zooming is a very trendy, popular visual hook that works really well.
Yellow rose necklace. Apparently there was a private room within the private room, and that's where they showcased all of the Dior art bags, which is
something really fun about this as well is it feels like she's giving us a look into this exclusive life. She said there's a private room within the private room, and that's something like a casual viewer, even if they know and walk into Dior while they're in Vegas for a vacation or something, you're not going to know about the private room in the private room. So it feels like she's kind of bringing us into this world and letting us be included in this like fantastic world of luxury.
Essentially a limited edition reinterpretation of the Lady Dior bag by contemporary artists. I stayed in this room while my sister debated between two jackets, despite the fact that I told her she looked bad in both of them.
Okay, the fact that she told her sister she looked bad in both jackets, like anyone who has siblings knows that feeling, and she's again like being super relatable here by being like, yeah, my sister couldn't decide between these two, even though I told her she looked like shit. That's something that like a lot of people would just say to their sibling at Walmart or something, right? Like this isn't something that just rich people would say. It's once again bringing us more into this relatability aspect, and I would be really, really shocked if she doesn't have someone helping her manage her social media presence and helping her figure out what to say to seem as relatable as possible, just based on how she talks about these things and the scale of her growth. But she does say that she works like 16-hour days. She works 80-hour work weeks doing, I think, investing or something. I don't know. Her family is very wealthy, but she does in fact work very hard. So she could just be a social media genius. That's entirely possible. And I'm willing to bet money that she planned this account a long ass time before launching the account and before launching all of this content. She was going for a fast launch, if I had to guess.
People are not scared of failing. They are scared of being seen failing. Think about it. People say they're afraid to fail, but they fail all the time in private. They start diets and quit. They set goals and never follow through. They make plans and abandon them. But none of that really hurts because no one saw it happen. What most people actually fear is witnessed failure. They fear the judgment. They fear the loss of status. They fear the whispering going on behind their backs when things simply don't work out. They fear the moment someone they respect raises an eyebrow, or when a friend slowly...
So again, in this video, she begins talking as soon as the camera's going. In fact, it feels like she was talking before it started recording and then cut to that sentence, which is a really awesome strategy that people use because it makes us feel like we're already in the middle of this conversation with her. And then she's talking about something really relatable, which is fear of failure.
Plate my puppy's breakfast with me. Our chef
So on this next video, again, she's talking immediately, but in this case, she's doing something relatable whilst being unrelatable. Again, this is something that she does very masterfully, and that is plate my puppy's breakfast with me, because I know for a fact that I would do anything for my dog. I have had birthday parties for my dog, and that is just as a person living a normal life in the Midwest. So I've had birthday parties for my dog. So the fact that she's like, plate my puppy's breakfast with me, and the fact that she has all of this like fancy plating and a silver tray and all of this, it's still relatable in its own way. So this is like, if I could give my dog this life, I totally would, right? So that's kind of what she's doing, and what she's illustrating is like, this is the life I give my dog. This is the life my dog deserves.
Prepped all the ingredients for me, so I have the easy job of just plating it. We're using this little plate, and I think they misspelled bon appetit. Little blue eggs. We were told that the chickens that lay these eggs run around very freely, so hopefully that's true. Abby usually ignores the vegetables and fruits, but I have them anyway. Purple rice with mixed grains. shredded chicken breast
This dog eats better than I do.
as a meal topper. Happy's a little bit overweight right now, so we're trying to cut back on the fat. But last step, we're gonna drizzle everything with a little bit of bone broth just to make sure he eats some of the vegetables. Ta-da! Oscar is jealous. Good boy.
And then of course we get to see the dog because we want to see the dog.
So I spent the entire
So I wanted to open this one specifically because
afternoon.
Again, she does that like visual audio hook of tapping on the box without it being very loud and annoying and overbearing. So she only taps on it for about half a second before talking about getting that bag.
Hermes, just looking at some of their ready-to-wear clothing as well as some of their furniture pieces for our new home. On my way out, I noticed all of their private rooms were fully booked.
So people watching content about Hermes are going to generally understand that getting a bag from Hermes is very exclusive and your sales associate has to invite you to get a bag. So the reason that this type of content is fantastic is because she walked into Hermes with no plan on getting a bag and her sales associate did not have a bag ready for her when she walked into the store. Her sales associate didn't invite her to buy a bag. She showed up and asked her sales associate if they had a bag and her sales associate said, "Hell yeah, let's get you a bag." And they meant that in the literal sense. The knowledge of the exclusivity of Hermes versus the fact that she just walked in and was looking at other stuff before getting a bag out of nowhere. Like that's another way that this applies in like a universal fantasy sort of way and in like that Pretty Woman sort of way of like, sure, this is an exclusive, wonderful thing that is very difficult to obtain, but I have it because I'm nice and because people like me. And that's a very, very difficult line to walk when you're making this kind of content because you have to consider the optics of the fact that you are talking about going in and buying a $15,000, $20,000 bag on a whim.
To my sales associate and said there must be some good stock here, to which she responded, "Yes, we have some bags. Do you want to see them?" So here we are, unbox my new Hermes bag. You can probably tell already by the size.
I also love that she says you can probably tell already by the size because most people watching this video are going to be like, I have no idea what's in this bag. Looking at this, I have no idea. She's going to pull something out that's fabulous and I have no idea what it's going to be, right? So she pulls out a pink Kelly and I'm like, cool, I know what that bag is because it's a Kelly, but like, I don't know what the hell bag she's going to pull out. I've never been offered a bag at Hermes. I've never bought a bag at Hermes. My fanciest bag is my Prada bag that I like splurged on in Vegas a few years ago. So again, this is a case of her walking that line of being relatable without being relatable. She's trying to bring you into her world, to bring you in of like, of course you already knew that. That makes sense. We all know this. We're all besties. We all know what's going on here. And she walks that line so well. So overall, as someone who helps people with their social media and who again helps like thousands of people go viral all the time, I'm super impressed by the way that Becca runs her content, and I'm gonna start implementing a lot of her strategy into my own content. Not necessarily like the luxury stuff, even if I do own a few luxury things, but I think some things that anyone can do. The first is to like lean into visual hooks of some kind. I don't really care what kind of visual hooks that you're using, but start to lean into those visual hooks, like how she's tapping on the boxes when she's doing an unboxing to let you know without even saying anything. Like the moment you open that video, you know she's gonna unbox some expensive shit. And you don't have to be unboxing something super expensive to implement like these visual cues and these visual hooks, like her walking from the kitchen with a glass of water. You can also film yourself while you're walking outside to your car or while you're out for a stroll or while you're just walking around the mall. And that is a visual hook in itself because it feels like we're drawing people into us and bringing them into our real life and just chatting with them while we're out and about and while we're walking around. It feels very intimate to record and talk while you're walking. Something else super basic that she does really well is if she's not doing a visual hook where she's tapping on a box, she is talking the instant the camera starts recording. In fact, for most of her content, it actually seems like she started talking before the video was actually recorded. recording, even if it wasn't when she recorded it, she makes it seem like it was because of the way that the content is edited. She's also very relatable. She talks about her siblings and her fiance and normal things that they do. Even if they live an outrageous, luxurious life, she talks about the normal things that they do. She talks about talking shit at her sister while they're out shopping, or she talks about how her fiance went and bought an entire stack of Girl Scout cookies. She talks about this like fancy food that she's feeding her dog and like shows these fancy plates that she's taking all this stuff just for her dog, right? These are all ways that she's being relatable without necessarily being a person that lives a life that everyone else can relate to. She's still doing relatable things. And even if we're aware that her social media is not what made her extremely wealthy, we are seeing her create social media content and get super famous super quickly and living a rich, luxurious lifestyle. So this is playing a psychological trick that is making us think, ooh, if I do the thing I want to do and I stop letting fear get in the way, then I can live this kind of lifestyle. She also just uses a very kind and friendly tone in her content without being too outrageously out there. And it makes it sound like she's just having a private conversation with a friend in a very chill way. So finding ways to make your content sound relatable and sound like you're talking to someone can also be a wonderful way to improve your content. And again, if you want to make a full-time living with content creation, make sure to check out the Real Advantage down below with the strategies that I have used to help thousands of people make a full-time living from their social media.